figures. Now, figures that are the same size and shape are what are called congruent. And similar figures can be congruent, but only if they're the same size. So squares can be congruent. Um, so also can be uh, circles, but they don't have to be. They're always similar, but they don't have to be congruent. It does not matter if they're flipped around and made to look different as long as they have congruent sides. So these here are congruent, even though they're a little bit askew. Same here, same here, same here. They've got the same shape and the same size. These here, same sort of idea here. They match up, and the way that that's denoted in these figures is this side matches up with that side, this side matches up with that side, and this side matches up with that side. And then we look at the angles, angle, 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 and then this angle would have to be, well, what's 180 minus 50, 30, and 130. 130 minus 60 is going to be equal to 70, so that has to be a 70-degree angle. So that's the opening part. Now, we got to move on here to the next part here. When you check for congruence, just match up the sides and the angles to see that they're all working out. So if we have here a problem here, and let's say this side here is 3. This side here is, over here it's going to be 2. This side here, let's say it's 2.5. If that's the case, then, and we know that these are congruent, the way that we match these up is, well, 2.5. This has to be 2. This has to be 3 again. And the angles in here are all going to match up too. And the way I would indicate this is I'd say congruence and say that the things are congruent. So the way I'd indicate that is by going ahead and saying this. A, C, line segment, is equal to, and then that sign means congruent to, then it's D, F. And then I look at A, B is congruent, AB line segment is congruent to D, E. And I know this is a little bit laborious, but it is something where this is how you make it clear that you covered all the parts here. BC is congruent to, then it would be congruent to EF. And again, we need to have these lines over the top. I should have done that on this side too to indicate we're talking about line segments. If we were to be asking instead, if we were just to write down AB, what's AB equal to? Then what I would go ahead and do is AB is equal to 2.5. Because there it's asking for a measure, not an actual thing, not an actual what it's equal to in terms of the line segment. You know, that's a little bit different. But so then I need to take care of the angles also. So angle A is congruent to angle D, angle B is congruent to angle E, and angle C is congruent to angle F. And if those are all true, then I prove that that these two are congruent. And again, if I were to say that this here is, let's say that this is a 50-degree angle, and I was asked what's the measure of angle D, then my answer would actually be 50. So that's different. Make sure if you see it like that, it's asking for a number. If you see it like that, it's asking for a number. If you see it like this, then it's asking for what it's congruent to, the opposite thing. Now down here, if you know that two figures are congruent, you may be able to fill in the numbers that are given in one but not the other figure. So for example, if I said this here is going to be 4, and this here is going to be 8, and this here is going to be 8, and this here is 5, and this here is an 80-degree angle. This here is a 40-degree angle. And this here would have to be, well, that actually, let's make that a 60-degree angle. Then this could be a 40-degree angle. Actually, let's go back here. And this would be a 40-degree angle. And then this would be an 80-degree angle. Then I should be able to tell, when I match these things up, that, oh, you know what? This here, if that's the case, then over here, this has got to be 5. Over here has got to be 60. And it goes the other way as well. Over here has got to be 40. And over here has got to be 4. So that's the way you match these things up. And that's if you're told that something is congruent. Now, last thing here is just sort of fun, I thought. So what we have here is we have a picture of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, if you look closely, you'll see there are some congruent figures in here. And there's at least 3 sets of congruent figures. I'm going to give you 2, and you can try and figure out what the other ones are. So this one here, if you look closely, you'll see, check it out. Those are congruent figures. And then we got another one here. We got over here. We got this one here. We got this one here. And then there's another set of congruent figures. I'm not going to tell you where it is, though, so you can scour it and look at it. There may be more than one set. I just had time to look for one set. Oh, I just found another set. So there's at least 2 more sets of congruent figures, but you can scan for it and look for it yourself and see if you can figure it out. But you should remember the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Stay away from that apple, Snow White. It is bad news.